Good morning. We are starting in 2 minutes. We are starting by 8:05. I'm helping some students somewhere. We are starting in the next 2 minutes. So welcome back. We want to continue from where we had stopped yesterday evening. So we were on process costing. We saw that maybe if I reflect back, we saw that in process costing, there is basic process accounts without work in progress, and we have process accounts with work in progress. There are process accounts that don't have work in progress, and there are process accounts with work in progress. So yesterday we took a lot of time in work in progress. So yesterday we looked at process accounts with only closing work in progress. We said that in process accounts with only closing work in progress, what do? Cost per unit is calculated through equivalent unit statement. You must first of all prepare equivalent units statement. And then we saw, how do you prepare equivalent unit statement? You must show the output units, closing work in progress units completed. This is units completed. Next, you must show abnormal loss. If it's a loss, you add. If it is a gain, you less. That is why here you see +3. This is here. This is number 3. So if it is a loss, you add. If it is a gain, you less. Just a second. Always ensure, please, you switch off your videos. Always ensure you switch off your videos. I was just trying to switch off somebody's video. Let me just switch off everybody. Okay, we continue. So we were saying that if it's a loss, you add. If it is a gain, you less. That question somebody asked me yesterday, and it was there. It was just that I did not explain, but later on I had explained it before we ended the class. Now, how do we get cost per unit? Cost per unit is total cost. You next, total equivalent units, and then you get cost per unit, which is total cost. And remember, number 4 here is total equivalent units. So this number 4 is what you bring here. Total equivalent units, total cost. And remember, for materials, you must less normal loss. For materials, when getting the total cost, you must less normal loss amount. So that is what we looked at. And then we looked at the format of the process account. That one I don't need to go back to. So you can see here, there is closing work in progress. So today, I want us to go to when we have, and this is always a lot of marks. It's around maybe 15 marks, sometimes 16 marks, sometimes it's even up to 20 marks, although sometimes it's even less. It can be 10 marks. But most of the time it is 10 marks, 15 marks, or even 20 marks. So when we have a process account with both opening and closing work in progress, what do we do in that case? Now, there are two methods that are normally used. There is FIFO, and this is just a principle. And there is AVCO method. It's just a principle. They just named it that way. So there is the FIFO and there is the AVCO. Now, always read exams questions carefully. If there is a question with opening work in progress, especially that, you must either use FIFO method or AVCO method. So this is the most complicated part of process costing, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Now, where do we post opening work in progress? You can see it here. That is where we post opening work in progress. That is where we post opening work in progress. So if there is opening work in progress, you now know where to post it. Okay, so let's continue. So if we start with FIFO method, of course, you start with the equivalent unit statement. And when you are preparing your equivalent unit statement, whenever you see me quiet, I'm just trying to sort out some people here. So equivalent unit statement, it has the following contents. Take note of what I'm explaining. Opening work in progress, not completed. The keyword there is not completed. So you will be given completed. For example, if 60% is completed, it means 40% is not completed. If 70% is completed, it means 30% is not completed. So you start with opening work in progress, not completed. And then next, you go to what is called fully worked units, the units that you fully work on. Fully worked units, take note that it is output units. Please write this one somewhere because I'll not be coming back to the slides. I'm giving you time there. So in the FIFO method, you start with opening work in progress not completed. Please note this somewhere. Fully worked units. Fully worked units is output units minus opening work in progress units. And then there is closing work in progress completed. Closing work in progress completed. Abnormal loss, you add if it is a loss. If it is a gain, you less. I've explained it there. To give you total equivalent units. To give you the total equivalent units. So that is equivalent unit statement using first in, first out method, concept, FIFO. Cost per unit. How do we get cost per unit? You use total cost, which you know how to get it. For materials, you must subtract normal loss amount. For materials, you must subtract normal loss amount. Next, total equivalent units. And then cost per unit. And take note of this. NB. Take note of this. This is very important. Why is this important? You are not given, take note that here it is fully worked units. You have not been given the output. It is just that fully worked units is output minus opening. But here you are being asked to also get the value of output. How do you get the value of output? Value of output is opening work in progress completed plus opening work in progress not completed plus fully worked. In other words, value of output, you need to take opening work in progress completed, which is always given in the question, opening work in progress not completed, which is given there, plus what? Fully worked, which is given there. So this one is given in the question. It's normally given in the question. Please take 30 seconds to even note down that. Especially what I've marked in red. Especially what I've marked in red as we go to question. And then later on, we will come to AVCO method. Take your time to understand it and note it down, especially the contents of equivalent unit statement. Number 1, opening work in progress not completed. Number 2, fully worked, which is output minus opening. Next, closing work in progress completed. Abnormal loss or gain. But that is what I've just explained. You okay? That is what I've explained, the format. This is the format. This is the format. This is the format that is followed. Unless you're asking something that I'm not understanding. I'm just explaining the format, and then we go and prepare the account. I've not even touched on the other method. That is the format that is followed. That is just what I've explained. That in FIFO method, you start with what came in first, which is opening work in progress. And then you go to fully worked. You go to closing work in progress, abnormal loss, and then it gives you total equivalent units. That is what I've just explained. And then value of output is opening work in progress completed, opening not completed, and then you add fully worked. That is what I've just explained. So let's go to an example in the notes, and then maybe one example in the past papers. So let's go to an example in the notes. Please take your time to read this. Read it at least twice. So the question reads, ABC Limited has the following information. Direct materials 8,000 units, costing 24,000. Conversion costs 18,000. Normal loss is 5% and scrap value is 2. Output is 5,000. Closing work in progress is 2,000, completed as materials 80%. Conversion 60%. Take note of what follows. Opening work in progress is 1,200 units, completed as materials 90% with a value of 4,000, and conversion is 3,000. Next, required, prepare process account using FIFO. Using FIFO method. Let me remove this for now. We will do it later on. Using FIFO. We will do AVCO later on. Okay, so I'm posting the figures one by one. Now, in a process account, let's post what we had yesterday. This is yesterday's question. I'm just copying that. Okay, so note that we start with opening work in progress. You can see opening work in progress. So I'll start by posting opening work in progress. Opening work in progress. What is our opening work in progress? 1,200 units. You can see this is 1,200 units. And the total amount, there are two values. There is 4,000 and there is 3,000. You add the two and you come and post it in total amount. There is 4,000 and 3,000, the value of opening. 4,000 plus 3,000. So if you want to know how that was got, you just click the cell and you will see. You will see how we got that. So the opening, remember, you add those two. You add those two. So when you add those two, let me just put for you the total here. Okay, it's not possible to put it there. So now here what we have posted opening. So we go back. ABC Limited has the following information. Direct materials, 8,000 units costing 24,000. So we'll come next and post direct materials. It is 8,000 units costing 24,000. I hope I've picked it right. Costing 24,000. We have posted that. Next, conversion costs is 18,000. Conversion costs is 18,000. 18,000. Conversion costs is 18,000. Next, normal loss is 5%. You all know that normal loss is posted there. Normal loss is 5% of direct materials times what? 8,000. Remember, it is always a percentage of direct materials. Don't forget that. Don't forget that it is always a percentage of direct material. Normal loss is always a percentage. So what is it? It gives us 5% times 8,000. 5% times 8,000, it gives you 400. 5% times 8,000, it gives you 400. 5% times 8,000 gives you 400. Next, normal loss is 5% and scrap value is $2. Normal loss is 5% and the scrap value is $2. So the scrap value is $2. Scrap value is $2. So if the scrap is 2, what is this? It is 400 times 2. 400 times 2 is 800. That one we covered yesterday. Don't need. Next, output is 5,000 units. So you can see our output is how many units? 5,000 units. So we have posted that also. Next, we have closing work in progress is 2,000 units. Closing work in progress. Work in progress is 2,000 units. So if you remember, you recall yesterday, the next step is now to get the total. On the debit side, this is 9,200 if I'm not wrong. Is it 9,200? Yes. This one is 7,400. So which side is more? The debit side is more. So it is 1,200 plus that. Now, okay, this one is more. So I post it on both sides. Type for me in the chat section. Is it an abnormal loss or gain? Is it abnormal loss or gain? The debit side is more. We covered it yesterday. If the debit side is more, the balance is on the credit side. Type for me in the chat. Is it a gain or a loss? Loss. Thank you. It is a loss. Why is it a loss? Because the total on the debit side is more than the total on the credit side. So the balance is on the credit side. If the balance is on the credit side, it is a loss. If it is on the debit side, it is a gain. So there is abnormal what? Loss, which is of course a balancing figure. It's a balancing figure. So it's an abnormal loss. Again, you can type for me in the chat. It is an abnormal loss of how much? You can type for me in the chat. Abnormal loss of how much? Okay, I know I can calculate it, but I want it from you people first. Abnormal loss of how much? Somebody can just calculate it and then give me the answer. Abnormal loss of how much? Units. 1,800. Thank you. Okay, 1,800. 2,800. That is good. Please make sure you just practice until those things are familiar. So how have you got 1,800? You have taken 9,200 minus 400 minus 5,000 minus 2,000. So what does it give you? 1,800. That is good. So once you have done that, you now go to equivalent units using FIFO. Equivalent units. Note that here we have direct materials and conversion. So we have materials and what? Conversion. I'll just repeat that. Materials and conversion. We have materials and conversion. Also here, materials and conversion. Okay, so let's go. We said what are the contents using FIFO method. First in is opening. So opening, take note here, not completed. Opening, not completed. So look at the question. Please, let's look at the question. Let me increase the size a bit. So look at the question. In our question, you can see opening is there. Opening is there. You can see opening values. And you can see closing values so that you don't confuse them. You can also see the closing values. So what are your opening values? Your opening values are these. Opening completed materials is 90. Somebody to type for me, if 90 is complete, what is not complete? 90 is complete, 90%. What is not complete? 10%, thank you. 10% is not complete. So what you do, you take 1,200 times 10%. 10% is what is not complete, 120. For conversion, 75% is complete. Again, type for me. What is not complete? What is not complete? 25. Thank you. 25. 25 is not complete. So here it will be 1,200 times what? 25%. So how much is that? 300. Let's go to fully worked. What did we say fully worked is? We said fully worked is output. We said it is. So maybe where can I write it? So maybe I can write it here. Maybe I write it there. So fully worked is equals to output. Remember, we had already said it earlier, minus opening work in progress. So look at this, which is equals to our output. Let's go to the process account. Our output is 5,000. Opening work in progress is 1,200. 5,000 minus 1,200. So is equals to, which is equals to 5,000 minus 1,200 is the opening, which is equals to 3,800 if I'm not wrong. 3,800. So how do you get fully worked? Fully worked is here. I'll go and pick that minus the opening. So you can all see it there. So 3,800. So it is 3,000. Sorry. Is equals to the same minus 1,200. So 3,800. So not closing work in progress is completed. So you go to closing work in progress. So let me put this in red so that you know we were using the red values. Now here, I'll put it in green so that you know we were using the green values. I'm just trying to simplify it in a way that you can easily relate them. So closing work in progress completed is 2,000, you can all see 2,000 times what? 80% is what is complete. Next one is 2,000 times 60%. 60% is what is complete, 1,200. Abnormal loss, you can see here, where is it? Abnormal loss is 1,800. So abnormal loss is 1,800. Abnormal loss is 1,800. So if it was a gain, you less. So we have confirmed that it is a loss. Abnormal what? Loss. So what is the total equivalent units? Opening plus fully worked plus closing work in progress plus abnormal loss. So it gives you 7,300. This one gives you 7,100. We go to total amount. Anybody who reminds me total amount? How are we getting total amount? For materials, you come to this total of materials minus the normal loss amount, 24,000 minus 800. So total amount of materials is equals to, look at what I'm doing, 24,000 minus 800. That is for materials. So it gives us 23. Conversion is this 18,000. So conversion is 18,000. Total equivalent units, we have already calculated it. Total equivalent units, we have already calculated it. Cost per unit is 23 divided by 7 that. So it gives you 3. So same 18,000. So, but let's see if it is rounded off. Yeah, it is rounded off. So if it is rounded off, you round to 4 decimal places, unless the examiner asks you to round off to 1 or 2. But if you have not been told, the standard is always 4 decimal places. If we were to get the total of that, so the total of that is that plus that. So it gives you 6 again to 4 decimal places. So to 4 decimal places, it's that. So value, let's start with value of closing stock. Value of closing stock. What is our closing stock? That and that. Cost per unit. Cost per unit is that and that. That is cost per unit. So what is the total value? 1,600 times that cost per unit. The next one is 1,200 times that. So it gives you that. Maybe I can round off these. Let me just round off that. Something like that. So we have, that is the total value. Okay, so let's continue. Value of abnormal loss. Abnormal loss, the units are 1,800. 1,800, you can see that. So what is the cost per unit? Cost per unit is I'm just trying to be consistent. Let me be consistent. Okay, cost per unit is that. Cost per unit is given there. So again, cost per unit is given there. Okay, next we have value of output. Of course, it is that times cost per unit. So whatever it gives you, Okay, so you can get as well get the totals now. What is the total of these? 5,000 plus this. This total is 5,000 again plus that. So the totals you have there. So we have your total values there. I'll put it in bold. Okay, next, value of output. Now here, we must be very careful. Opening work in progress was given. So we have materials. We have conversion. This is what I told you to put down. We said value of output is opening work in progress completed plus opening not completed plus fully worked. Please, there is a lot of calculation. So let's go step by step. Opening completed is there in the question. You can see there opening completed 4,000 and 3,000. So here we have 4,000 and this is what? 3,000. You can see that one is given in the question. Opening not completed, it is not given, but it is in the equivalence. Opening not completed units is that, times the cost per unit is that. Okay, here again, opening conversion, not completed conversion, units is that, because it was not given in the question, times cost per unit is that. You get that amount. Fully worked is also in the question. That 3,800, if it is there, times that, you pick it. Fully worked conversion, 3,800 times 2.5. So that is what you get. So in this case, look, you can look at what I'm trying to do, maybe so that I'm really consistent. So we have that. So what is the total of materials? The total of materials is 4,000 plus 380 plus fully is that. Total of conversion is 3,000 plus 760 plus 9 is that. So when you add the two, this plus that. So what do you get? I'm just trying to make the work presentable. Okay. We are done. I'm just trying to make the work presentable. Okay, so everything is there. So now the stress is here to ensure it balances. So what is the value of output? Value of output, you come and transfer. Value of output is 29. What is value of closing work in progress? Closing work in progress is 8,000. What is value of abnormal loss? Value of abnormal loss is 10,000. Let us hope it will balance. Let us see. It should balance to this amount. 7,000 plus 24,000 plus 18,000. How much is that? 49. So if everything is right, it should come to 49. If everything is right, it should come to 49. So let's see. Is equals to 800 plus 29 plus that plus that. Yeah, it has balanced. So 49. Take your time to understand, and let me project both the question. Again, take 2 minutes to understand before we move on. 2 minutes to understand before we move on. If you want me to scroll up, I can scroll up so that you see the values. Or I can even reduce the size so that you can see as much as possible. I'm just doing that so that you can see everything in the screen. But I understand they are smaller. But if you can see, the better. So remember, in FIFO method, opening work in progress not completed, you start with opening. You start with opening. In average, there is an average. So opening work in progress FIFO, opening work in progress not completed, add fully worked. How do we get fully worked? Fully worked is output. Fully worked is output minus opening work in progress. Output minus opening work in progress. I'm repeating, value of output, we learned it in the slides. That is why I was telling you to take notes when we were on the PowerPoint slide. Value of output is value of opening work in progress completed, which is given in the question. You can see the 4,000 in the question. And then conversion is 3,000. So that is 4,000 and 3,000. 4,000 and 3,000. Opening work in progress not completed is there in the equivalent unit statement. But what is there is not the value. What is there is the units. So you take the units of 120 times the cost per unit. That gives you 380. You take the 300 units, because we are interested in value, not units. 300 times the cost per unit of 2.53. Okay, we continue. Next, fully worked is here. You take 3,800 times 3.1694 and 3,800 times 2.5352, and then you get the totals. So is equals to opening work in progress completed, which is given in the question, plus opening not completed, plus fully worked, plus fully worked, plus fully worked. Okay, so I think we can continue. Let us look at a past paper question. The last question that was tested, that is why there is a very high chance that this question will be there. It was tested in June 2019. So take your time to read that. But in this year, it was very simple, very, very simple. That's why it was even fewer marks. It was 10 marks, only 10 marks. So take your time to read that. So June 2019, question 3B. June 2019, question 3B. June 2019, question 3B. So June 2019, question 3B reads, what is that name is difficult. NDL makes wine which goes through a single process. NDL makes wine which goes through a single process. Materials are always added at the start of the process. Materials are always added at the start of the process. At the beginning of May 2019, NDL had an opening work in progress of 8,000 liters of wine, which were 40% complete with the following except material that was fully utilized, except material that was 100% complete. That is the meaning. I'm repeating, NDL had opening work in progress of 8,000 liters. So let's just go and post it. Opening work in progress. Okay, let me pick this first. I'm just picking these totals. I'll copy that and come and post it there so that we save our time for more examples. So we have that. Okay, so we have our question is there. So I hope everyone is seeing. So I was looking for opening work in progress. Opening work in progress is 8,000 liters. So I'll come and write here, opening work in progress is the units is 8,000 liters. Okay, so 8,000 liters with the following 40%. I'll come back to that. Cost except for materials that had been fully what? Utilized. So materials, this is 30,000 plus 12,000 plus 4,200. How much is that? 30 plus 12. So 30, let me just add it so that 30,000, remember we are working in 3 plus we are working in thousands, you can see it there, plus 12,000 plus, remember I'm adding 3 zeros which are on top there, plus 4,200. So it is 46, is it 46? Yes, this is 42, 46, 200. But I've added the zeros. Don't forget about that. I've added the zeros from that question. So next we continue. We continue with the question. The question was very short, but only 10 marks. So during the month, NDL produced additional 44,000 liters of material valued at I'm repeating, during the month, NDL introduced additional materials of 44,000. So materials of how much? 44,000 liters. Is it 44,000 liters? Valued at 123,200,000. Valued at 123,200,000. Valued at 123,200,000 to the process. So you can see that statement. When I read, I go and post it. We continue. NDL incurred conversion costs and production overheads amounting to 54,022,480. So conversion costs. So conversion costs and what? Production overheads. Conversion costs and production amounting to conversion was 54,488,000. 54,488,000. I hope I've picked it right. 54,488,000, and this one is 22,480,000. 22,480,000. 22,480,000. Let's continue. We are almost finishing. At the end of the month, NDL had a closing work in progress amounting to 6,400. So they had a closing work in progress amounting to how much? 6,400 liters, amounting to 6,400 liters, amounting to 6,400 liters, of which were those were percentages completed. Now, what did we say yesterday? If you remember what I said very well yesterday, if there is no normal loss, there is also no abnormal loss. So normal loss has not been, or have we been given? Let me read again. Do you see any normal loss? No, there is no normal loss. So this even makes the question even more easy. We said if there is no normal loss, there is no. So this one is equal to that times that. So there is no normal loss. If there is no normal loss, there is also no abnormal loss. It is not there. So if there is no normal loss, we said there is no abnormal loss. Don't forget there. So I can add it there. There is no normal loss, and therefore there will also be no abnormal loss or gain. I explained that. So if normal loss is not given, there is also no abnormal loss. If you don't expect any loss, there will also be no actual loss. That is the interpretation of that. So let's get the total. The total is 8,000 plus 44. Here is also 52. So it gives you 52, which means that if there is no abnormal loss, it means the balancing figure is the output. Output will be the balancing what? Because it was not given. So you can wonder, you can really look for it in exams. It was not given so that it confuses you. That is the reason why the examiner did not give it. I'm repeating. If there is no normal loss, there is no abnormal loss. So I can even add there. Therefore, output will be a balancing figure. You know what we mean by balancing figure by now. Balancing figure is the difference between this and that. So what is our? It will be 52 minus 6,400. So what does it give you? 45,000. Now with that, we have finished the process account. We can now quickly go and get this. So there was materials, there was conversion, and there was production overheads. Okay, so let us be very, very careful. Let's read here. At the beginning of the May, NDL had opening work in progress of 8,000 liters. Take note of that, 8,000 liters. Look at this carefully. 8,000 liters of wine, of which 40% was complete with the following costs. Those are the following, except materials, which was fully utilized. Materials was fully utilized, so fully complete. So you can take is equals to 8,000 times 0% is what is not complete. Materials was 100% complete, fully utilized. So not complete is 0. The others were what? 40%. You are told with which were 40% complete with the following except materials. 40% conversion. So is equals to 8,000. 40% is complete. Therefore, 60% is not complete. Again here, 8,000 times 60% is not what? Complete. That is the meaning of that. Fully worked, by now everyone knows what fully worked is. Fully worked is, we had said fully worked is equals to output minus opening, which is equals to, our output is 600 minus 8,000. 600 minus 8,000 is the opening, which gives you whatever value you get. We can post it. So what is your fully worked? So fully worked is equals to 45 minus 8,000. So what do you get? 45 minus 8,000. Again, the last one, 45 minus 8,000. So fully worked is there. So I can also put it there because now I know the answer. 37,600. Closing work in progress is what percent complete? Somebody to read for me. At the end of the month, NDL had closing work in progress. So, okay, sorry for that interruption. So closing work in progress, I was reading here, NDL had closing work in progress amounting to 6,400 liters, which was 60% and 40% complete with respect to conversion and, let me repeat, NDL had closing work in progress amounting to 6,400 liters, which was 60% and 40% complete with respect to conversion and production overheads. So you have not been told materials. So materials is 100%. So it will be 6,400 times 100%. Materials complete. And then the other ones are now 60% and 40%. Is equals to 6,400 times, what is the conversion? 60%, 60%. And the other one is 6,400 times 40%. Management accounting is just about practicing. If you practice, they will be very easy. If you don't practice many questions, they will be very technical. So practice as many questions. So there was no abnormal loss or gain here. So what is the total equivalence? Opening plus fully worked plus closing is that. So I'll get the totals. I'll scroll them down there. Now, cost per unit. I'll just copy that. I'll come and post it there. This one, there is nothing. So don't even struggle with it. There is nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing. No, cost per units are there, but it is just at the other side. I always just like showing you everything. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Okay, so let's continue. What is the total amount of materials? So the total amount of materials is equals to, we come to the process account, materials is 123 million minus 0. So that is the total of materials there. Total of conversion is 54. The total of production overheads is 22. So we have that there. Total equivalence we had already found. Total equivalence is 44. What is the cost per unit? Total amount divided by total equivalence. So it is 2,800. 2,000. Wow, this was a whole, it was very, they were all, let me see if it can be rounded off. Okay. K11 divided by L. So now what, you okay? Please, the only advice I can give you is go and revise the two questions. That is the only advice. Why opening work in progress is 0, but fully worked is 6,400? Fully worked, you get it from the process account. You get it from the process account. Fully worked is this output minus that opening in the process account. And I've even said it here. I've even put it there. I've even put it there. That is fully worked. How you get the fully worked. I've even put it there. It is output minus opening in the process account. We use the process account. I hope you've understood me. Next. So what is the units of closing work in progress? Units of closing work in progress, 6,400. So I can just scroll those ones down here. Okay, cost per units. I can scroll them and remember, okay, what I wanted to explain is not there. So we have that. Now, value. What is the value? 6,400 times 2,000. So that is, it's a very big figure. So what is the total value? The total value is equals to that plus that plus that. So we get that. The figures are becoming bigger and bigger. Okay, so we have that is the total value. Okay, so next, there was no abnormal loss, although cost per unit was there. Cost per unit was there. Okay, so cost per unit was there, but there was no value. So value is 0. So value is 0. It is not there. Actually, I need to remove it. Next, value of output. Now I think you have memorized it. Value of output is opening completed. Opening completed is given in the question, always given in the question. 30 million, 12 million, and 42 million. Sorry, 4,200,000. So 30, 12, and 4,200. 30. So 30 million. I hope that is 30 million. 30 million. I've forgotten. 12 million and 4,200. 12 million and 4,200. 200 and for 200. Okay, for 200. So opening not completed is not given, you must calculate. So this one, opening not completed, has not been given. So you take that times the cost per unit. You remember what we did in the previous question. You also come, opening not completed is not given, you must calculate, times cost per unit. The last one also is equals to that times the cost per unit. So you get that. Fully worked is also not given, you must calculate. So fully worked is that times cost per unit is equals to, these figures are big, that times cost per unit is equals to that times cost per unit. So it gives you that. So what are the totals? The totals is opening plus opening not completed plus fully. So we get 135 million. They are very big figures. So is equals to 135 million plus 61 million plus 25,400,000. So you have got your result there. Okay, so you have got your result there. This was value of what? Closing stock. I think we have now completed the question. The value of closing stock. So you have your value of closing stock. So in your value of closing stock, we just come and complete the process. So what is the value of output? Value of output is 22 million. These figures are very big. And closing work in progress is 23 million. So let's just hope. Let's cross our fingers and hope it will balance. So let's see. So 46 plus 123 plus 54 plus 22. It gives you 240. I hope it will balance. Is equals to that plus that plus that plus that. Has it balanced? Yes, it has balanced. So that is now you are remaining now just to practice. It has balanced. I've given you two examples. One example in the notes and one past paper question. We have just covered 1 hour and it looks very long. So please just take 3 minutes to stretch. Don't log out. I will give you a break at 10, not now. Just 3 minutes to stretch, leave your seat, and come back. We go to AVCO. I will give you a break at 10, not now. Just 3 minutes to stretch, leave your seat, and come back. And come back. So please, it's not a break, it's just stretching from your seat. Just stretch from your seat. I will give you a break at 10, not now. So just stretch 3 minutes, and then you come back to your seat, and we go to the second method. As I project everything, let me see if I'm in a position to project. Yes, I'm in a position to project everything. So stretch as I have projected everything there. You have stretched. So let's go back to now. So that is FIFO method. So if you have been asked to use FIFO, that is what you are to do. That is what you are to do. And that is how the question is to be tackled. So let's go back to our slides for 5 minutes and then we come and do AVCO. We come and do AVCO and then we have a break and then we come and advance and finish on process costing. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. Don't forget about FIFO. FIFO, we have said, opening work in progress not completed, fully worked units, which is output minus opening work in progress. Master this slide, master this slide. Closing work in progress completed, abnormal loss or gain, total equivalent units. And then NB, value of output is opening work in progress completed plus opening not completed plus fully worked plus fully worked. Let's go to AVCO method. So if you have been told to use average cost method, what do? You look at equivalent unit statement, which has the following. You start with output units. You show your closing work in progress completed. You show your abnormal loss or gain to give you the total equivalent units. I'm repeating, output units plus closing work in progress completed plus abnormal loss or minus abnormal gain to give you the total equivalent units. And then you get the cost per unit. Cost per unit is total cost. Total cost is equals to opening work in progress plus period costs plus period costs plus period cost. This is the change. This is now the change in this method of AVCO. That is the new change we are introducing. That is the only change. Because there is no opening here, there is no opening anywhere there. So the opening is brought under total cost. Opening plus the normal value of total cost. That is what we call period cost. That is what we call period cost. And then total equivalence, you have got it from that step there. So next we get cost per unit. That is the only, it is very close to what we covered yesterday under closing work in progress. The only difference is this opening work in progress. So why don't we look at a number of examples and we do that AVCO. So let's go to examples. Please take a minute to write down these so that you don't ask me many questions. Take a minute to write down that somewhere. Under AVCO, output, closing, abnormal. Output, closing, abnormal. Output, closing, abnormal. And then total cost is opening work in progress plus period. Please write these, note it before I change, and then also that. The rest are the same. The rest are the same. The rest are the same. So I'm giving you time to write it down so that you'll be referring to it instead of going back. Okay. So in this case, we look at the same example we covered, but I think I can do only, because this is more straightforward, I can do only one example. So let's go to the same example we covered, but now we do it using AVCO. So which was the first example? Yeah. You see this example we covered, we started with in the morning. This example, we did it using FIFO. We want to repeat the same example, but now using AVCO. So let's go here. The same example using AVCO. The same example, but we are using now AVCO method. I'm just putting so that everything, I think everything now fits. Everything should fit in one without moving. Okay, so the question, remember, what have I said? Output, closing work in progress, abnormal loss. And then remember here, total amount. Total amount here, we have said it is opening. So total amount is equals to opening plus what? Period. So take note of that. Total amount is equals to opening plus period. But we are not on that. Let's read the question first. ABC Limited has the following information. This is a question we had just done. Had the following information. Direct materials, 8,000 units costing 24,000. Conversion, 18,000. Normal loss, 5%, and scrap value, $2. Output is 5,000 units. Closing work in progress was 2,000 units completed with respect to materials and conversion. Opening work in progress. So note that this is closing. This is what? Closing. And this is opening. So don't confuse the two. That is opening. So closing and opening. So required, prepare the process. Now we are not using FIFO. We are now using which method? AVCO. We are now using AVCO, the same question. So let's, of course, automatically, you know, we always start with the process account. I'll come and copy that so that we save our time. We post it there, okay? So let's start with opening work in progress is 1,200. So opening work in progress, we have found that it is 1,200, and the total amount we have found is 4,000 plus 3,000. 4,000 plus what? 3,000. 4,000 plus 3,000 is 7,000. We move on. Direct materials. Direct materials. Materials is how much? I'm forgetting. 8,000 and 24,000. 8,000 and 24,000. 8,000 and 24,000. We continue. Conversion is 18,000. Conversion is 18,000. Conversion is 18,000. We continue. Normal loss is 5% and the scrap is 2. Normal loss is 5% and scrap is 2. So normal loss is 5%, of course, times what? 8,000. So that is equals to 5% times 8,000 is 400, and the scrap price is 2 to give you normal loss amount of 400 times 2. 400 times 2. And then output we were given. Were we given? Yes, I saw it somewhere. Output is 5,000 units. Our output is 5,000 units. Were we given closing work in progress? Yes. Closing work in progress, 2,000 units. Closing work in progress, 2,000 units is 2,000 units. What is always the next step? We had already done this, so we just knew this side was more plus that. So it is abnormal loss. Abnormal loss. So here we have an abnormal loss. Of course, it's a balancing figure. Abnormal loss is equals to 9,200 minus 400 minus 5,000 minus 2,000. So it gives you that, okay? Okay, so it gives you that. Now, so this gives you 7,000 plus 24,000 plus 18,000. What do we get? 49,000. So the rest we must go through the normal process. So there is materials and conversion. So materials, conversion. Materials, and there is conversion. There is materials, and there is conversion. There is materials, there is conversion. I'm just posting everywhere. Materials, and there is conversion. Finally, materials, and there is conversion. So we are just picking from where we had stopped. So what is our output units? Our output units are 5,000. So our output are 5,000. Our outputs are 5,000. That does not change. Our abnormal loss is 1,800. So abnormal loss is 1,000, unless you are given percentages. Sometimes you are told abnormal loss is 80% for materials. If you have been given, use the percentages. If you have not been given, assume it is 100%. I'm repeating. Sometimes the examiner adds a percentage of abnormal loss. So if you have been given percentage, you get the percentage. If you have not been given, you don't get the percentage. Closing work in progress completed. You come here. Closing work in progress completed, 80% for materials. So 2,000 times 80%. And conversion is 2,000 times what percent? 60%. So let me put this in green so that you know where we picked it from. Okay, so this, you know, it is abnormal loss. Abnormal. So what is the total equivalent units? 5,000 plus 1,600 plus 1,800. You get 8,400. You get that. Equivalent units, we can transfer it there. Equivalent units, 8,000. So total amount, we've said, this is where there is a difference between AVCO and FIFO. Total amount is opening plus period. So look at what I'm doing. Opening is 4,000. You can all see the 4,000. So is equals to, look at what I'm doing there, 4,000, which is opening, plus period is this. Period is these opening materials minus, of course, normal loss. I'm repeating. The difference is here in the total amount. There is a difference there. I don't know how I can put it. The difference is this. So you take opening plus period. So opening is this, period costs are that, but there is a loss. You remove the loss. I hope you've understood me. Conversion. Opening is 3,000. Opening is 3,000 plus period conversion is 18,000. I'm repeating. Total amount in AVCO is opening plus period. Opening plus the period costs down there. So what is the cost per unit? Cost per unit is this divided by that is 3. Let's see if they were rounded off. Yeah, they were big figures. So they are there. Cost per units are there. Now, what are the units of closing stock? Units of closing stock is that and that. What are the units of abnormal loss? Abnormal loss units are that and that. What are the value of output units? Value of output units is units. Okay, let us also transfer the cost per unit. Cost per unit is this. Okay, cost per unit, you have already calculated it. And that. Cost per unit, you have already calculated it. And that. So finally, and I mean finally, is equals to this times that, you get the total. The next one is this times that, you get the total. Is it okay, we'll round off. Don't worry about that. We will round off. This is 1800 times that. We will round off. Don't worry about that. So that is not right. That times that total there. We will also do the rounding off so that we are consistent. That times that. We will also round off times that. So what is remaining is to get the totals and then we round off. Totals and then we round off. Totals and then we round off. I'm done. I'm just editing. You know, accountants should be very neat, presentable people. If your work is not neat, you are not an accountant. So, okay, so here we have, yes, I've just rounded off so that we are consistent. So we'll be picking this total. We'll be picking that total and we'll be picking that total. So let's start with, what is the first one? The first one is value of output. What is the value of output? This one, 29. Value of closing work in progress. It is that one. Value of abnormal loss. Abnormal loss, do we have it? Yes, that one. So let's see if it balances. 800 plus 29 plus that plus that. Yes, it has balanced. That is using which method? That is using, so you have seen how many minutes have I taken? I've taken 30 minutes to do the question. Also in exams, make sure you take 30 minutes. And remember, I've taken 30 minutes and I'm explaining. You will not be explaining for anybody. So if you can take 20 minutes, the better. I've taken 30 minutes and I was explaining. So I think maybe 1 minute to look at the whole question overview, and then we move on to, do you need another example on AVCO? If you need, you can type for me, yes. Do you need another example on AVCO? Okay, so we look at a past paper question. So just take your time to absorb that, and then we look at another example on past paper, another example on past paper, and then we will have now our normal break. So take your 1 minute to absorb that, and then we move to another example. Julius, you have not understood me very well, but that is a good question. Where do I get 27,000? Where is it? This one. Julius, we said it is 4,000. Julius, I hope you are seeing, plus 24, but there was a loss of 800. You remove the loss of 800. If you have understood, you can type yes. You remove the loss of 800, Julius. If you've understood me, type yes. Julius? Okay. So let's go to another example, past paper question, but I'm choosing a complicated one now. I'm choosing a complicated one. June. So you see in June sittings, remember your June sitting was now changed to April. These are very common questions in June sittings. So there is a question there. Take your time. Take your time to read the whole question. I want the question to fit. So ignore the required for now. Just read the question. Just read the question. For now, ignore the required. Take a minute to read and read and read. No, it is June 20. It is June 2018. I think I'm right. It is June 2018. Can somebody confirm? Is it June 2018? Is it June 2018? June 2017 we had covered yesterday. Was it yesterday? June 2017 we covered yesterday. Yeah, June 2017 we covered yesterday. Okay, thank you, Paul. So the question reads, explain the accounting treatment for the following. This one, just write somewhere because I'm not typing. Explain the accounting treatment of the following under process costing. Under process costing. Normal loss should be credited. Accounting treatment, normal loss should be credited in the process account. Write that somewhere. Normal loss should be credited in the process account. Normal loss should be credited. Write that somewhere. I'm not writing it. Normal loss should be credited in the process account. You know that. Normal loss is in the credit side. Abnormal loss, what is the accounting treatment of abnormal loss? Can somebody tell me? Is it a debit or a credit? Abnormal loss, you can type for me in the chat. Accounting treatment of abnormal loss. What should it be? Is it a debit or a credit in the process account? Abnormal loss. Is it a debit or a credit in the process account? Credit, thank you. So abnormal loss should be credited in the. Lastly, abnormal gain. Abnormal gain, abnormal gain, abnormal gain. Abnormal gain, debit. You see, you have earned 3 free marks. I call those ones free marks. Those are free marks which you should all get. So let's read the question, and it's good always to start with the required. So let's start with the required. Look at the required. So using average cost method. Which method? AVCO. Calculate the following. Equivalent production, that is equivalent units. Number 2, cost per unit. Number 3, closing stock. Number 4, abnormal profit or loss. Profit is the gain, loss is loss. Finished goods is the output. Now, you have not been told to prepare the process account. Do you realize that? You have not been told to prepare the process account, which means there may be some information missing. I don't know. I will just try to prepare it. If there is some information missing, we will know. But you have not been told. If you have not been told, don't struggle to prepare it. But I will just try to prepare it so that I assume the question was complete. Huye Limited produces a single product, premium wine, and operates a process costing system to track costs throughout the production process. The company has provided the following information in respect to process 2. Take note, in respect to process 2. In respect to process 2. For the month of May 2018. Opening work in progress is 20,000 liters. With the following. So opening, even though we were not told, let me just prepare it. But you know, if you have not been told, it may not balance. But we will just confirm. It's rather we do it, we confirm it does not balance because we were not told to prepare it. So if you have not been told, take note that also in exams. Maybe it may not balance because we were not told to prepare it. But I'm just completing the question. So opening work in progress. How many units? You are being told opening work in progress is 20,000. And the total is, total amount, somebody to help me, this is complete, it's very much. 38,500, we are working in thousands. 38,500, 38,500, 1, 2, 3, plus 11,000, you add the zeros, 11,000, you add those zeros, plus 9,000, you add the zeros, 9,000, you add the zeros, plus 4,200, you add the zeros, 4,200. So what do we get? I did not put the equal sign. What do you get? 62. 62,700,000. So we have posted that. Next. Units transferred from, remember we are in process 2. Units transferred from process 1 were 135,000 liters, valued at, we are in process 2. So the output in process 1 is input in process 2. So take note of that. Output in process, so I can say from process what? Process 1, so that you remember that. From process 1. Output in process 1 is input in process 2. So that is 135,000. Okay. And were we given the amount? Amount were we given? 540 million. 540 million. So this is 540. Sorry, 540. 540. Whenever I make a mistake, you correct me. 540 million. I think it was 540 million. And output transferred to process 3 was 121,500. Output transferred to process 3. So the output was 121,500. I hope I've picked it well. Was it 121,500? Yes. Who here Limited incurred the following process costs during the month? So the costs incurred, materials was 67. Materials was 67. So because there is already these, we will call these additional materials. We will call it additional because this is the original materials was already given. So if there is an additional material, you call it additional material. So what is our additional material? 67, because this was already 540. 67, 567, 500. 67, 567, 500. Next, direct labor. Labor is, somebody to help me in labor, 54,500. 54,500. 54,500. 1, 2, 3. 54,500. 42,617. 42,617. 42,617. 000. 42,617. What is it called? Production overheads. It is called production overheads. Production overheads. Okay. Okay, so we continue with the question. Units scrapped. Units scrapped were 5,000 liters. So note that is actual loss. Please take note of that. That is actual loss. Actual loss does not appear anywhere. Actual loss does not appear, but those percentages appear in either abnormal loss or gain. I'm repeating. Actual loss does not. So let me come and write here. Units scrapped. Units scrapped are what? This is the actual, sorry. Units scrapped is actual loss. Units scrapped is actual loss, which is equals to 5,000 units. So which is equals to, let me write it independently, 5,000 units. Units scrapped, which is actual loss, is 5,000. We will need it maybe somewhere. So let us pick the items in the process account. There are many. So there is Sorry, I'm just doing some editing. So I don't need to write there. I don't need to write that this is from process 1. Okay, let me just leave it to be consistent. So that I'm just consistent, I can just leave it. So I'll copy that. I'll come and paste it. I'll copy that and come and paste it there. I'll copy that and come and paste it. Okay, so we already have that. So next, now, there is a small issue here. We are Limited normally provides, I did not complete the question. We are Limited normally provides normal wastage at 2% of production, and scrapped units are realized at 6,000. Scrapped units are realized at a price of 6,000. So normal loss is 2%. So we can come and post it. There is normal loss. So if there is normal loss, 2% times 135,000, whatever you get, you'll come and post it there. So how much is that? It is 135 times 2%. So it gives you 2,700, and you are being told what is the scrap price? Scrap price is 6,000 per liter. So they are scrapped at 6,000 per liter. So this question had everything that we needed. Let's just hope it will balance, because you are not told to prepare a process, but I'm just preparing. Now, next, what is remaining is closing work in progress. Were we given closing work in progress? Yeah, closing stock during the period amounted to 30,000 liters with the following completion. Amounted to 30,000 liters. So amounted to 30,000. Now, which method have you been told to use? Average cost method. So average cost method, we start with output units. What are our output units? Our output units, you can all see our output is 121. So our output is 121. You place it everywhere. Our output is 121. You just place it everywhere. Our output is 121. Next, closing work in progress. Closing work in progress. Closing work in progress, where was it? Here. Closing stock during the period amounted to 30,000 liters with the following. For direct materials, 60%. So remember, there are two materials. There is this additional materials. So this is additional direct materials. So for additional direct materials, look at what I'm doing. 60%. So where is the closing? Here, 60%. So 60%, 40 and 15. 60% of 30,000. So it is 30,000 times 60%. Next is 30,000. I know I've skipped something. I'm coming back to it. Times 40%. 40%. Next, 30,000 times, where is the other 15%? 15%. So it's that. But what have we skipped? If you have not been told, you assume it is 100%. You are only given for the materials during the process. You are not given for materials that were brought in from process 1. Next, abnormal loss. Abnormal loss. What is your abnormal loss? Okay, we have not found it. So can somebody help me? Which one is more? Yeah, debit side is more. 20 plus 135 is 155. So 155, I believe it is more. Abnormal loss. It is a balancing what? figure. Abnormal loss is a balancing figure. Abnormal loss is a balancing figure. So 155, I hope, minus. Yes, it was a gain, it was a loss. A loss. So it was a loss. That is very good. So if it is a loss, but remember, abnormal loss is, but we were given percentages. Do you see percentages of losses? Direct materials 100%, 40%, and 50%. 100, 40, and 50. So percentage for the losses are 100. So 100% times what? 800. Here it is 40 and 50%. 40% times 800. Here it is 50% times 800. Don't, the scrapped units are, those ones are actual losses. Those are actual losses. Actual losses are not shown in the process account. Actual losses are not shown in the process. Of course, this percentage is not given, so it is 800. It is not given. It is 800. So what is the total equivalent? This plus that plus that. So what does it give you? 152. So that is the total. So we bring it here also, 152, and we just scroll down to save time. So materials from process 1. What is our materials from process 1? 540, remember to minus the loss. And we are using AVCO. Remember to add the period. Period, were we given period? Yes. Period, sorry, opening. Opening was 38,500. So don't forget that. So let me just go step by step. Julius, you asked me this question. Look at what I'm doing. Carefully follow that. 0, 0, 0, because we are working in thousands there. Plus these materials that plus that, okay, minus Julius, you are the one I'm tackling your question, minus that. So you see what we get. Additional, you just take the period. Opening is 11,000, that is 11 million. 11,000, you remember to add the 3 zeros, plus 67. Next, because we are using what? AVCO. Labor opening is 9,000. 000. Don't forget that. Plus labor is 54. Finally, overheads is equals to 4,200. Remember to add the 3 zeros. Plus 42, if I'm not wrong, 42. So are we in a position now to get cost per unit? Yes, this divided by that. So it gives you 32, 62, blah, 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 you get. And let's see if they were rounded off. Yeah, they were rounded off. So we agreed that we be consistent to 4 decimal places if they are. So what are the units of closing stock? The units of closing stock are 30,000. So I'll just scroll that, 3018. So I bring it down there. Cost per units are those ones. Cost per units are those. Oh, they specified. Thank you. Thank you. If they specified, that is very good. It even isn't your work. If they specified, you round it to 2. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. They specified. Okay, I've rounded off to 2 decimal places. Thank you for reminding me. I did not read that. So cost is this times that. So, to how many decimal places? To 2 decimal places. I think that is 2 decimal places. Okay, so we can get the total value of closing stock. So what is the total value of closing stock? That plus that plus that plus that. So that gives you 128. 128. So 128. So what is the cost? Again, you have told me they specified to 2 decimal places. So if they specified, it isn't our work. Okay, what are units of abnormal loss from the process account? So we have that. Have I picked it right? Okay, I've picked it right. So what is the value? 800 times that value. Whatever you get, I'll round it off, don't worry. So those are 2 decimal places. So we add plus that, plus that, plus that. Now, that is the total. Now, if that is the total, next value of output. Value of output. Our output is there. Cost per unit is also given. Cost per unit is also given. And then what is the total value? 121 times, this must be a very big value. So we have that. You are told to 2 decimal places. So you take that plus that plus that plus that. Now, remember, that is what the examiner asked you. The examiner did not ask you to prepare the process account. Sometimes if you have not been asked, it may not balance, but I don't know. I just want to confirm first before I comment. Sometimes if you have not been asked, it means it was not necessary and it may not balance. But let me confirm before I conclude. So what is our value of output? Value of output is 6 that. What is our closing work? Closing is that. What is our abnormal loss? Abnormal loss, do somebody see it? Yes, it is that. So let's see. Let's see if the whole question was right. If you were asked to prepare, this is what you could have done. Let's just hope it will balance. Does it balance? How will I put it there? Somebody to help me. How can I pick this value? I'll change it, don't worry. It is Q48. Q40. Q. It is Q48. Yes, it has balanced. It has balanced. So it has balanced. So that is AVCO. So with whichever method you have been told, you now know. Please practice those 4 examples. So I've given you 2 examples on FIFO and 2 examples. So I wanted to take the first 2 hours to cover opening and closing work in progress, which we have taken exactly 2 hours. Let us agree. I know that is tiring. It is tiring. Let us have a 30 minutes break. Please keep time. 30 minutes break. After 30 minutes, you come back and we finish the topic process costing. I'm promising you what we are going to cover next is not difficult. So have break, keep time so that we look at joint products and byproducts. Joint products and byproducts. We have covered the major part of process costing. So keep time, have 30 minutes break, log out. You will log in at exactly 10:28. Let us all be online at 10:28 so that we start the class at exactly 10:30. I hope we are together. Let us all log down. So Ange, that is life. Sometimes there are challenging things. Sometimes there are easy things. So that is why the examiner gives you options. You know, my work is to cover everything, whether it is easy or difficult. Now in exams, it is you to choose. You choose 5 questions out of 5 out of 7. So if you find this is challenging, don't do it. So it is you now to make a choice. Me, I'm giving you a variety so that you are in a position to cover everything. Otherwise, even by now, everybody should be in a position to pass, because I'm very sure 6 out of 7 questions in exams we have already covered. What is remaining is what we'll cover on Thursday and maybe Friday. Thursday next week. So let's have the break. Let us meet at exactly 10:30. Let us all log out. Have some break. I also need some break because I have classes the whole day today. So let's have some break of 30 minutes. We come and finish on process costing.